About 5 weeks here near Hog Island in Woburn Bay. Here we are. Look at old Woburn Bay. Get one good look. We could be gone for a while. Lindy's getting the anchor up. But before we get started on season 5 of Fun on Holiday, let's take a look back and recap how it is that we ended up in the southern bays of Grenada. In the fall of 2016, we retired, sold all our stuff, and moved aboard our 1980 Tartan 37 sailboat Holiday, leaving from the west coast of Florida in October for an open-ended adventure. We spent our first winter in the Florida Keys, with the majority of that time in the famous cruiser hangout of Boot Key Harbor. Then in the spring, crossed the Gulf Stream to the Bahamas, exploring the Exumas all the way to Georgetown. After a couple of months, we returned to Florida and crossed the state on the Okeechobee Waterway, where we did the infamous water barrel tipping and then made our way back to the Gulf of Mexico and Florida's west coast for our first hurricane season and some much needed boat maintenance. Our second season, we went back to Boot Key Harbor for the winter, where we really started getting the hang of cruising and living on a small sailboat. Then decided to explore the east coast of the United States on the Intercoastal Waterway. For more than 3 months, we stopped at every little cool coastal city between Florida and Maryland, including an awesome side trip to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. We made it to the Chesapeake Bay for our second hurricane season and spent months exploring every nook and cranny, including a trip up the Potomac to Washington, D.C. When the weather turned cold, we started our third season by making our way back to the Bahamas, exploring the Berries, Eleuthera, and the Exumas again, before heading off through the secluded far Bahamas as we attempted the thorny path to the islands of the Eastern Caribbean. As our style of cruising is very slow, we spent a full month in the Dominican Republic and then crossed the Mona Passage to Puerto Rico, where we spent another month cruising its beautiful south coast, finally ending up at the largest marina in the Caribbean, Puerto del Rey. We left holiday there for our third hurricane season and returned to the U.S. to visit friends and family. At the start of our fourth season, which was the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, we spent 3 solid months loving it in the Spanish, U.S., and British Virgin Islands. By March 2020, we made the big jump across to St. Martin, and of course, that's when the pandemic hit. We spent the next 3 months there in various levels of lockdown and also replaced our diesel engine before making our longest passage ever, a 3-day journey to Grenada in June. Here we spent our fourth hurricane season, exploring the country while the pandemic continued around the world, which leads us to the start of our 5th season as we begin cruising again from the hurricane holes of southern Grenada. We hope you enjoy mine and Lindy's adventures again this year on Fun on Holiday. The seas are definitely up, but we're going downwind, so it's not too bad of sailing. We've just got the head sail up. Just moving down the coast. Once we get out here, we'll have to jive through, and yeah, things are going pretty good. Old Woburn Bay. All right. Been a while since we've been out sailing. Everything okay down below, Lindy?
Yeah.
All right.
I was just securing a few things that had jumped ship.
Good deal. Now in our 5th month of cruising Grenada, with much of that spent in the southern bays, the most active part of hurricane season had come to an end, so we decided to move around to Morne Rouge, a beautiful little clear-watered, beach-lined cove. The southern bays have great protection from the weather and are full of marinas and yacht services, but these same attributes make for dirtier water, and we were ready for that clear blue Caribbean water that we love so much.
This might be our last trip on the south coast of Grenada for the year-ish or something.
Yeah.
It might. Could be we'll be back in a month. You never know.
The uncertainties of cruising, due to the weather or problems with the boat, or really just about anything you can imagine, have always kept our schedule and route unknown, like Lindy was saying. But throw in the challenges to travel that the pandemic has brought, and we have really gotten used to the fact that we have no idea where we're going to be in a week, or a month, or even a year. All right, we're getting close to Point Salines. Still sailing along. There it is. Jibe through and then take off on probably a beam reach. Morne Rouge is not too far around the corner. Leaf New right here with us. Sailing on the south coast of Grenada, the waves can get pretty big since it's exposed directly to the eastern winds and waves of the Atlantic Ocean. But we were heading dead downwind, which reduces wind speed by the speed of the boat, and also moving the same direction as the waves. Heading the opposite direction into the wind speed would be increased by the speed of the boat, and we would be bashing into the coming waves for a much more uncomfortable ride. As we changed direction to go around Point Salines to the west side of Grenada, we jibed, or pulled the sail across to the left side of the boat to continue catching the wind, which would now be coming from the right side of the boat. As we turned further and further into the wind speed would now be increased by the speed of our boat rather than decrease. However, the water would soon become smoother as we rounded Point Salines, and the whole island of Grenada was between us and the large waves of the Atlantic Ocean. Oh, here we go. Just made our turn around the point. Little 19 knot gust there. Whoops. Here we go. Gonna go check out Morne Rouge. We were super excited to be back at Morne Rouge, where we had spent our first few days after our 2-week quarantine upon our arrival to Grenada. Getting the anchor set. That afternoon, we just relaxed aboard after our sail and then watched a beautiful Caribbean sunset that evening. Good sunset. Hey there, Lindy.
Hey.
Having a fun beach day?
Uh-huh.
All right. That's awesome. Morne Rouge is the most beautiful beach in Grenada, and we spent the next few days just lounging around here with our friends on SV while we watched the weather, waiting for the best day to sail to Carriacou, a smaller island about 30 miles north that is still part of the country of Grenada. Time to head to Carriacou. Morne Rouge, it's been fun. I see Leaf News pulling up their anchor. All right, time to do this. Think we're gonna have some sailing today. Let's get out there. Head right around that point. 33 miles. All right, we got a single reef in the main and the head sail reefed in a little bit. We're doing over 6 knots. Woo!
Nothing is trimmed properly as I'm looking at our telltales. I just checked, I was like, oh, I wonder how good we trimmed our sails just quickly. Not well.
All right. So we'll fix that and then we'll go even faster. But man, it is nice. We spent the next couple of hours in perfect conditions sailing in the lee of Grenada, protected by the island from the higher winds and waves of the Atlantic Ocean. We were entering a transition period from the normal summertime weather in the Caribbean, which is hot and still, with not much wind outside of when tropical storms come through, to the normal wintertime weather, which is much stronger, consistent trade winds blowing from the east-northeast. These higher winter winds also create a phenomenon in the eastern Caribbean as the wind speed and wave height are amplified in the gaps between all the islands in a sort of funneling event. As we neared the northern point of Grenada and the gap between it and Carriacou, we noticed the winds starting to get shifty and prepared ourselves for heavier weather sailing. This would be our first experience with the winter funneling effect, as the pandemic had us go straight from St. Martin to Grenada, far offshore of the island. We hoped our sail configuration of a single reef in the main and being able to easily reef the head sail would be the correct setup for the conditions. Needing to leave the safety of the cockpit and go to the mast to put more reefs in the mainsail is a little dangerous once the high winds have already hit, so we try to have that set up well in advance. The blast of wind was quite a bit higher than expected, well into the 20s, and the waves started to build. We knew right away we should have had 2 reefs in the main, so Lindy made an adjustment to the main traveler to leeward, or left in this case, which takes some additional power away from it. We reefed in the head sail until it was pretty tiny, to match the boat's sails with the power of the wind and give us the most comfortable ride. But a head sail that small lacks shape and doesn't give much control. The better configuration definitely would have been 2 reefs in the main and more head sail out. But we were doing just fine and tried to settle in for the wild ride. Going 7 knots right now. 7.4. At these speeds, it didn't take long for us to have flown by uninhabited Ronde and Diamond Island, with Grenada shrinking in the background and Carriacou growing larger and larger on the horizon. Getting closer. What do you think, Lindy? Hanging in there?
Yeah.
All right.
It's been a little rocky today. A little sportier than I think we were anticipating.
I'll agree with that. But we managed pretty well. We got the sails reefed in correctly, trimmed pretty good, and making the best of it.
We're flying.
Yes.
So, even though it's a little, sporty, we know it's not going to last very long.
Yeah, we've been out about 5 hours now. We've gotten across that really kind of rough part. Things have calmed down considerably. We're still flying along. We got Tyrrell Bay in sight there. But the plan is we're going to go to Sandy Island. Just around the west side here. How much longer do we have left, Lindy?
Like an hour. Like 5 miles.
Awesome. Turned out to be a great day. One reef in the main. Got like a tiny head sail, maybe 70%. Something like that. Scooting along. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, one of the best places. Stay tuned for the next episode where we explore all over Carriacou and grill lobsters right on the beach for Thanksgiving back on Sandy Island. Then in the spring, cross the Gulf Stream to the Bahamas. Then in the spring, cross the Gulf Stream to the Then in the spring, cross the Gulf Stream to the Bahamas, and then in the spring, cross the Gulf Stream to the Bahamas. And when I put ... here, it's really hard for me to come up with the words to say. I should have just wrote exactly what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
How many months were we in the Bahamas that first time? Didn't we spend 3 months going up the ICW? We spent